For, gosh, over 4,500 years, the pyramids of ancient Egypt have just stood there, haven't they? Huge enigmas.
Absolutely. We've all seen the pictures, marveled at the sheer scale.
The size, the presence, the incredible effort, it's almost overwhelming.
It really is.
But what if the real genius, the true marvel, isn't just how big they are, but maybe these hidden blueprints, these sort of profound concepts encoded within them?
Hidden blueprints. It's a really tantalizing idea.
It makes you think, doesn't it? So today we're diving deep. We're going to challenge some traditional views, look at archaeological speculation, maybe some forgotten methods, these ancient secret designs.
All trying to unlock what might be the true master plan behind it all.
Exactly. What's really captivating here, for me anyway, is how thinking about hidden blueprints changes how we see the pyramid.
Oh, completely. It shifts them from just being, impressive structures
Right, like giant tombs.
to being these incredibly sophisticated repositories of knowledge, almost like libraries in stone.
That's a great way to put it. It fundamentally shifts our perception, doesn't it? Their purpose, their design.
It suggests something far more complex, intentional, and, well, intellectually layered than just piling up stones for a burial.
Precisely. So get ready. We're going to explore these forgotten methods, these designs that still kind of defy our modern understanding.
And this deep dive is really for you listening. Anyone who's just insanely curious about how these colossal structures actually came to be.
And what secrets they might still hold about, honestly, one of history's most fascinating civilizations.
There's still so much we don't know.
So let's unpack this idea, hidden blueprints. When you hear that term, I mean, most people probably picture drawings, right?
Yeah, like architectural plans, rolled up papyrus, maybe precise lines, measurements.
Like something you'd hand over to a modern construction crew. But that's not quite what we mean here, is it?
No, not really. We're definitely not talking about technical drawings in the modern sense, though. Wouldn't that be amazing to find?
Oh, absolutely. So what are we talking about?
It's more about theoretical frameworks, ideas deeply embedded within the architecture itself.
Okay, so embedded how?
Think of it less like a physical drawing and more like a complex code, multi-layered, kind of, I don't know, spiritual DNA of eternity, maybe.
Spiritual DNA. I like that.
Yeah, written into the stone, the layout, the very placement. These blueprints, they encompass intricate geometry, really advanced astronomical alignments, profound symbolism, all woven together by incredibly precise proportions that seem to have guided every single aspect of construction.
From where they put it on the ground to the shapes of the rooms inside.
Exactly. Orientation, internal dimensions, maybe even the materials chosen for specific spots. It's all potentially part of this code.
That's a really powerful distinction. So it's not just what they built, but how they conceived it?
Yes, how they encoded their entire worldview, their understanding of the cosmos, right into the physical form.
It suggests a level of intellectual, maybe even spiritual sophistication that honestly we're maybe only just beginning to fully appreciate.
Indeed. And if these encoded designs truly exist, I mean, if we can decode them, it fundamentally transforms our understanding of the pyramids.
How so? Beyond just being tombs.
Well, it reveals them not merely as monumental tombs, which is, the standard view,
Right, the textbook answer.
but as highly sophisticated repositories of profound knowledge, like we said, libraries or databases of their time.
So this perspective suggests they were meticulously aligned with, what, cosmic principles? Math? Philosophy?
All of the above, potentially, principles that stretch far beyond simple engineering needs.
They were designed to be more than just buildings then.
They were potentially meant to be bridges, connecting the human realm, the earthly plane, with the divine, the cosmic, physical reflections of their entire worldview.
It's not just building, it's encoding, preserving a whole system of thought.
Their deepest convictions about the universe, their place in it, all locked within stone for eternity, or so they hope.
It's a complete redefinition. It means that your perception, listening right now, of these ancient wonders could shift.
Right. From just, wow, that's
Yeah.
big, or how do they lift those stones?
Up to seeing them as deeply intellectual, philosophical statements,
Yeah.
where every angle, every dimension, every alignment might actually carry a hidden message.
A piece of their ancient wisdom, potentially.
It really makes you rethink what architecture even meant to the ancient Egyptians. It wasn't just shelter or monuments.
It was maybe something much, much deeper.
Okay, so if we've explored the philosophical idea, this concept of encoded knowledge, Where do we see the first layer of this code?
Well, the most obvious place, and maybe the most striking, is literally written in the stars above them.
Ah, the astronomy connection. Let's delve into that. How they mapped the cosmos on Earth.
Because it wasn't just about building big, like you said. It was
Yeah.
about building with incredible, almost unbelievable astronomical accuracy.
And that's where the evidence starts getting really compelling, right?
Oh, absolutely. Take the cardinal directions, for instance,
Hmm.
just aligning the structure.
Seems basic, but
But the Great Pyramid, Khufu's pyramid, the biggest one at Giza, it's aligned to true north with truly remarkable accuracy.
how accurate are we talking?
We're talking within 115th of a degree. That's just 0.05 degrees of deviation.
0.05 degrees. That's insane.
It is. Especially when you consider they achieved this without modern instruments. No compasses, no GPS, no sophisticated optics.
It really challenges our understanding of their capabilities, doesn't it? Celestial navigation, surveying.
Absolutely. It raises huge questions about how they did it. Maybe using the transit of specific stars across the meridian, or the sun shadow at the equinoxes.
Whatever method they used, it established a near-perfect baseline for these massive structures.
And that precision alone suggests a very deliberate blueprint guiding them.
It's genuinely astonishing, especially at that scale. And this connection to the stars, it goes even deeper, right? With the Orion correlation theory.
Ah, yes, Robert Bauval's theory. That one really captures the imagination.
It does. Tell us about it.
Well, Bauval proposes back in the 1990s. He suggested that the three main Giza pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, aren't just randomly placed next to each other.
Okay.
He argued they actually mirror the three prominent stars in Orion's belt. Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mentaka.
So the layout on the ground matches the layout in the sky.
That's the core idea. Bauval pointed out that the relative positions, even maybe the relative brightness suggested by the pyramid sizes, seem to correspond. Especially the slight offset of the third pyramid, Menkaure's.
The smaller one.
Right. It's slightly offset to the east, just like the third star in the belt, Mintaka is slightly offset and a bit dimmer.
Wow. And the implication of that.
The implication is profound. If true, it suggests a very deliberate sky-ground blueprint, directly linking these massive monuments on Earth to specific stars and, by extension, to the entire cosmos.
It would mean the Giza Plateau is basically a physical map of the heavens.
A map laid out on Earth, perhaps designed to reflect a specific, significant moment in time, locking that cosmic alignment into stone.
A map of the sky made of colossal stone. Incredible. And this cosmic dialogue, it doesn't stop with the external layout, does it?
Not at all. We also find these features inside the Great Pyramid, these narrow shafts.
Often called star shafts or air shafts, though air seems unlikely.
Right. Solar and stellar tracking shafts might be a better description. They lead out from the inner chambers.
From the king's and queen's chambers specifically.
Correct. They're quite small, some only about 8 inches square, tiny passages. But they extend outwards, and crucially, they seem to point with striking accuracy towards specific stars, as they would have appeared in the sky thousands of years ago.
Which stars are we talking about?
For example, the southern shaft from the king's chamber points directly towards Alnitak. That's the brightest star in Orion's belt, the one Khufu's pyramid might represent on the ground.
Huh. Reinforcing the Orion connection.
Possibly. And the southern shaft from the queen's chamber points towards Sirius, the dog star.
Sirius was hugely important to the Egyptians, wasn't it?
Incredibly significant, associated with the goddess Isis, and its heliacal rising predicted the annual, life-giving flood of the Nile, a cornerstone of their calendar and cosmology.
Okay, so these shafts point to specific, important stars. What does that tell us about the blueprint? What was their purpose?
Well, interpretations vary, as always in Egyptology. One idea is symbolic. They were guides for the pharaoh's soul.
Pathways for the afterlife journey.
Exactly. Facilitating the pharaoh's ascent to join the gods among the stars, which was central to their beliefs about the afterlife. The pharaoh becomes one with the imperishable stars in the northern sky, or travels with Ra in the solar bark. These shafts might have been launch ramps, symbolically speaking.
A celestial escape hatch.
You could put it that way. Alternatively, they might have functioned as highly sophisticated, encoded astronomical markers, part of a larger, hidden astronomical blueprint.
Like fixed telescopes or observation points?
Perhaps, or even calendrical devices designed to track the precise movements or positions of key celestial bodies over long periods, maybe related to precession.
That implies a really advanced understanding of long-term celestial mechanics.
It certainly does. The truly remarkable thing here is how these alignments, both the shafts and the overall site plan, they just don't seem random.
No, they feel deliberate, meticulous.
They speak to a conscious integration of their cosmic beliefs directly into the physical architecture. It suggests a profound understanding, maybe even a reverence, for celestial cycles.
Not just abstract ideas, but guiding principles embedded in their most sacred structures.
It's a testament to how deeply intertwined their science, their spirituality, and their engineering really were. You couldn't separate them.
And this cosmic integration wasn't just limited to the Great Pyramid, right? You see it elsewhere on the plateau.
Definitely. Khafre's pyramid complex is the second largest one, the one that still has some casing stones at the top.
And the Sphinx is part of that complex, right?
Correct. That entire complex, including the Sphinx and its associated temples, shows significant alignments, particularly with the solstices. The points where the sun rises and sets at the summer and winter solstices line up with features of the complex.
So it suggests a holistic site plan, not just individual monuments, but the whole landscape.
Exactly. It indicates a larger landscape blueprint, governing the placement and orientation of multiple structures within a cohesive, sacred geography.
A grand, overarching design connecting the whole earthly realm at Giza to the celestial one.
Creating an integrated sacred landscape, mirroring the heavens and perhaps reinforcing Mat, the cosmic order.
Okay, so beyond the stars guiding the placement and orientation, what about the actual shape, the internal proportions?
Right, moving from the macro scale of the cosmos down to the micro scale of the measurements themselves.
What mathematical secrets, what sacred geometry might be etched into the stone?
Because it seems like they weren't just looking at the sky. They seem to have had a deep understanding of numbers, ratios, maybe even universal constants.
This is where it gets really fascinating and also maybe a bit controversial. Sacred geometry.
It definitely stirs debate. But some researchers argue quite vigorously that the Great Pyramid's proportions intentionally encode the golden ratio, Phi.
Phi, roughly 1.618, that number that pops up everywhere in nature and art.
Exactly. It's found in spiral galaxies, seashells, plant structures, and throughout history, it's been revered for its aesthetic harmony, its connection to universal order.
And how is it supposedly encoded in the Great Pyramid?
Well, one common proposal is that if you take the slant height of one of the pyramid's triangular faces, that's the distance from the apex down the middle of the face to the base,
Okay.
and you divide that by half the length of the base side, the result is astonishingly close to Phi.
Really? That specific ratio?
Yes. And if that was intentional, it suggests they were deliberately incorporating an idealized aesthetic, a principle of universal harmony derived from natural law, right into their most monumental work.
The idea that phi, a number we still find fascinating today, could be intentionally embedded with such precision thousands of years ago, that's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, and proponents argue it's unlikely to be pure coincidence given the precision involved.
And phi isn't the only fundamental constant they might have encoded, is it? What about pi?
Ah, pi. The ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, 3.14159, and so on. That also seems to appear in the Great Pyramid's dimensions with remarkable accuracy.
How so? It's a pyramid, not a circle.
Right, but consider this. If you take the perimeter of the Great Pyramid's square base,
Okay, all four sides added up.
and you divide that by twice its original height, the resulting number is incredibly close to pi, like 2 times pi.
Yeah.
The relationship is perimeter equals 2 pi height.
Wow, that's unexpected.
It is. Furthermore, another relationship suggested is that the ratio of the height to half the base is related to pi 4, connecting it back to the circle inscribed within the square base.
That's highly significant, isn't it? Because pi, as we understand it, wasn't formally discovered or defined until much later.
Exactly. Which implies either an incredibly refined empirical understanding, maybe derived from practical work with circles and ropes and measurements, or it points towards a hidden mathematical framework, a body of knowledge that predates Greek mathematics by millennia. It suggests advanced mathematical insight that traditional histories might underestimate.
Either way, it implies a deliberate design choice, not just a happy accident of construction.
That's the core argument. The precision makes coincidence seem less likely to many researchers.
So we have phi, we have pi, and then there's the iconic slope itself, that very specific angle of the sides.
Yes, the slope angle of the Great Pyramid is instantly recognizable. It's approximately 51.8 degrees, or more precisely, 51 degrees, 50 minutes and change, often rounded to 51.51.
And that specific angle, it's not arbitrary either.
Almost certainly not. It seems intricately linked to fundamental geometric proportions. It can be derived using a simple rise-to-run ratio, based on their cubit measurements, often cited as a sect of 5 palms and 2 fingers. But geometrically, it's also closely related to triangles derived from pi and phi. For example, a triangle whose height is the square root of phi times half its base has that angle. It's also related to the 11.13 ratio found in some Pythagorean interpretations.
So the slope itself might contain encoded mathematical relationships.
That's the idea. Symbolically, this precise angle is often interpreted as representing a perfect balance
Balance between what?
between heaven and earth.
Ah.
Steep enough to facilitate the pharaoh's ascent, but stable enough to anchor the structure firmly to the terrestrial plane. An angle that harmonizes celestial aspirations with earthly foundations.
This precision, these potential mathematical encodings, it really raises a fundamental question, doesn't it?
It does. Were these profound mathematical principles things they discovered intuitively, through generations of building trial and error, empirical observation?
Or was it something else?
Or was it part of a carefully preserved, perhaps even secret, body of knowledge, passed down through elite groups, master builders, priests, maybe for centuries?
That's a crucial distinction. Accidental discovery versus inherited wisdom.
It really is, and it's a core debate within Egyptology. The sheer precision of these ratios, phi, pi, the slope, combined with other, more speculative observations.
Like what? What other speculative ideas are out there?
Well, some alternative theories go further. They suggest, for instance, that the Great Pyramid's base perimeter, when scaled up, has a direct relationship to the Earth's circumference.
Whoa, encoding the size of the planet.
Or that its height relates to the distance to the sun, or that it encodes the precise length of a degree of latitude at the equator. These ideas continue to spark intense speculation and debate.
It's important to understand why these alternative theories emerge, isn't it? What drives people to propose such, frankly, radical ideas?
Absolutely. Proponents often point to anomalies, the sheer precision, the scale, the complexity, and argue that these feats just couldn't have been achieved with the conventionally assumed Bronze Age technology. They feel the standard explanation falls short.
So what are some of these more fringe ideas about the pyramid's function beyond a tomb?
Well, you get theories about pyramids as energy devices. This often stems from the massive amounts of granite, particularly in the king's chamber. Granite contains quartz crystals.
And quartz has piezoelectric properties, right? Creates electricity under pressure.
Exactly. So the hypothesis goes, the immense weight of the pyramid, combined with its precise geometry, might have somehow focused or harnessed Earth's natural energies, or even generated power, maybe for communication, healing, or purposes we can't even conceive of.
Okay, that's definitely out there. What else?
Others propose they were incredibly advanced astronomical observatories, not just aligned to a few key stars, but capable of tracking complex celestial cycles with incredible accuracy over millennia, maybe even acting as repositories of geophysical data about the Earth itself.
So the argument is that unexplained precision or weird phenomena point to lost technology.
Essentially, yes. Things like claims of subtle energetic anomalies around the pyramids, or debates about the stone-cutting precision supposedly being impossible with copper tools. They argue these are better explained by a lost advanced knowledge base.
And why does mainstream Egyptology remain skeptical?
Primarily, it comes down to the lack of direct, unambiguous archaeological evidence. There are no ancient batteries found, no wires, no obvious mechanisms for energy generation that fit these theories. No complex astronomical instruments beyond simple sighting tools have been unearthed.
So it's fascinating speculation, but without concrete proof.
Right. Science demands tangible, testable evidence. However, these ideas definitely challenge your understanding, make you question the limits of ancient technology, and ponder the pyramid's potential functions beyond just being tombs.
It makes you wonder, what else might be hidden in plain sight, waiting for a new perspective or a new discovery to unlock its meaning?
Precisely. The mystery endures.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. For way too long, the actual how do they build these things has felt like an impossible mystery.
Yeah, shrouded in images of, endless lines of people dragging stones across the desert under whips.
That popular image, often fueled by Hollywood, it seemed almost superhuman, defying what we thought ancient societies could do.
But recently, some really groundbreaking evidence has started to change that narrative quite dramatically, especially regarding the Nile.
It seems they weren't just brilliant architects and mathematicians, but also incredible logisticians. They integrated the landscape itself into their master plan.
You're absolutely right. We really need to move beyond those simplistic ideas of just brute force and endless overland dragging.
Because the planning involved must have been incredibly sophisticated.
Hugely complex, but also incredibly well thought out. We're talking about managing resources, manpower, and transport on a scale that required immense foresight. It wasn't just building, it was a massive interconnected system.
And a key piece of that puzzle, a direct window into their logistical brainpower, comes from a truly remarkable document, doesn't it?
Oh, the Diary of Merer, yes, absolutely extraordinary.
Tell us about it. What is it?
It dates from around 2550 BCE, right during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid. It's essentially a logbook kept on papyrus.
A logbook from that long ago.
Exactly. Meticulously detailing the day-to-day operations of a team involved in transporting massive limestone blocks, specifically for the Great Pyramid.
Wow. Who was Mirror?
Merer was an overseer, a kind of middle manager, in charge of a team of about 40 skilled workers.
Yeah.
His diary, discovered relatively recently in a cave complex at Wadi el-Jarf on the Red Sea coast.
Okay.
It gives us these first-hand accounts of their work. And what's incredibly illuminating is that it explicitly records the transport of high-quality Tura limestone blocks.
The fine white casing stones.
Yes, exactly. Transported via boat along canals from the Tura quarries, which is south of Giza on the east bank of the Nile, directly to the Giza pyramid site.
So, canals and boats. Not just dragging overland.
Not just draggy overland for those crucial facing stones, certainly. This isn't just a theory, it's written proof from someone who is actually doing the job.
That's a total game changer right there. It shatters that image of endless desert hauling.
Completely. It reveals a level of organization that's truly remarkable. It implies a sophisticated planning system, a logistical blueprint for materials management.
Like a modern supply chain.
Very much like that. It suggests a deep understanding of civil engineering, building and maintaining canals, harbor facilities near the site, alongside efficient boat-based transport networks. This wasn't chaos. It was meticulously managed.
And this idea of canals wasn't just theoretical planning based on Mirror's diary. There's been a huge discovery very recently, right? Like 2024 recent.
Yes, this is truly a landmark finding. It provides the physical evidence that perfectly complements Merer's written account.
What did they find?
A 2024 study using a combination of satellite radar imagery, geological surveys, sediment coring, and analysis of ancient pollen. Basically a whole toolkit of landscape archaeology.
Okay.
They uncovered evidence of a now buried major branch of the Nile River. It ran right alongside the pyramid fields, stretching for about 64 kilometers or 40 miles.
A whole branch of the Nile that's just gone now.
Buried under desert sands and modern farmland over millennia due to climate change and the river shifting its course. They've named it the Aramat branch, Amamat, meaning pyramids in Arabic.
And this Aramat branch, its location.
Its location was absolutely crucial. This natural waterway, likely enhanced with canals and harbors like Mirror described, would have enabled the transport of those massive stone blocks, not just the Tura limestone, but likely the bulk limestone, and even the huge granite blocks from Aswan further south, largely by boat, directly to or very near the pyramid construction sites.
So that's how they moved 2.3 million blocks, averaging 2.5 tons each for the Great Pyramid.
It provides a much, much more plausible mechanism than solely relying on overland dragging for the entire distance. Water transport is vastly more efficient for heavy loads. This completely reshapes our understanding of the construction process
It moves us from imagining endless human chains pulling stones through sand.
to a much more elegant water-based solution. Utilizing the river, minimizing that incredibly difficult overland movement for the heaviest, bulkiest materials.
What's so striking here is how these new finds provide tangible evidence for this landscape blueprint.
Exactly. A master plan that didn't just consider the structures themselves, but ingeniously integrated the natural hydrology, the environment of the Nile Valley.
It shows a level of foresight and environmental understanding we don't always credit ancient civilizations with.
It speaks to a civilization that saw their environment not just as an obstacle, but as a resource to be cleverly harnessed. They didn't just build on the landscape, they built with it.
And this discovery of the Aramat branch happening just in 2024, it fundamentally reshapes your understanding right now of how the pyramids were built.
Absolutely. It shifts the narrative away from impossible mystery and pure brute force toward ingenious logistical planning and a profound connection with their natural world.
History being rewritten in real time, it's amazing.
It truly is. Science and archaeology working hand in hand.
Okay, so we have the cosmic vision, the math, the landscape integration. But let's talk about the human genius. the people behind it all.
Right, because it wasn't just a concept. It required brilliant minds and an immense organized workforce to actually bring these hidden blueprints into reality.
Who are these master builders? Do we know names? And what specific methods did they use to get that precision, that scale, without our tech?
Well, throughout Egyptian history, we certainly know of visionary architects. Figures like Imhotep, centuries before Giza.
The architect of Djoser's Step Pyramid, the first big stone building?
Exactly. Often revered as a genius, later even deified. For the Giza pyramids, the sheer scale and complexity suggest a highly centralized design authority.
Someone overseeing the whole Giza project.
It's very likely. A prime candidate is Hamiunu. He was Pharaoh Khufu's vizier, his chief minister, effectively the second most powerful man in Egypt. His large tomb is right near the Great Pyramid.
And he likely oversaw the construction.
He's widely believed to have been the chief architect, the orchestrator of the Great Pyramid project. His statue depicts him as a powerful, intelligent figure. He would have commanded vast resources and knowledge.
So, maybe not just one lone genius, but a whole system, a hierarchy of knowledge.
That seems probable. Maybe elite groups, specialized guilds of master craftsmen, perhaps even priesthoods closely guarding and preserving sacred knowledge about geometry, astronomy, and engineering.
Passed down through generations.
Possibly. The exclusivity or secrecy of this knowledge could even have reinforced their status, framing the pyramid not just as a tomb, but as proof of their divine connection and command over the universe.
And the workforce itself. We need to address that common misconception again. Not slaves, right?
Absolutely vital to reiterate. The evidence overwhelmingly points to a workforce of skilled Egyptian laborers, artisans, craftsmen, not slaves.
Where's the evidence for that?
Extensive archaeological digs at Giza, led by people like Mark Lehner, have uncovered entire villages near the pyramids, purpose-built settlements to house thousands of workers.
What were these villages like?
They weren't primitive camps. They had bakeries capable of producing thousands of loaves of bread daily, breweries providing beer, a staple of the ancient Egyptian diet, facilities for processing fish, cattle bones indicating plenty of meat, even evidence of medical care, like healed fractures found in skeletons.
So a well-supported, well-fed, organized community.
Exactly. It indicates a massive societal investment in supporting these workers, who were likely conscripted seasonally, perhaps during the Nile flood when farming was impossible, as a form of national service or taxation. They were valued for their skills.
It completely refutes that old, persistent myth and highlights the incredible infrastructure needed.
It paints a picture of a coordinated national effort, not forced labor under duress.
Even so, the scale remains staggering.
Oh, absolutely. Over 2.3 million blocks for the Great Pyramid alone. Average weight, 2.5 tons. Some granite beams inside weigh up to 80 tons.
80 tons? How? And the materials?
Mostly local limestone, quarried right there on the Giza Plateau for the core blocks. The fine white casing limestone came from Tura, across the Nile, transported via that Aramat branch likely. And the super hard granite for inner chambers, sarcophagi, portcullises that came all the way from Aswan, hundreds of miles south, floated down the Nile.
Okay, so the logistics were immense, but the actual building, the tools, no wheels for transport, no iron. How did they cut and place these stones with such precision?
Their ingenuity was extraordinary, relying on simple machines, physics, and incredible organization. For quarrying softer limestone, they used copper tools, chisels, saws hardened perhaps by adding arsenic pounded with wooden mallets.
Copper seems too soft for stone.
It is, relatively. They likely had to resharpen constantly. For harder granite, copper was useless. They probably used harder stone pounders, like heavy dolerite balls, to pulverize the rock along a line. Or maybe techniques involving drilling holes, inserting wooden wedges, soaking them with water to expand and crack the stone, possibly even using heat and rapid cooling. Labor-intensive, but effective.
And achieving that precision, the alignments, the levels.
Simple but effective tools. Plumb bobs a weight on a string for perfect verticals. Cubit rods, their standard unit of length, based on the forearm, probably made of wood or stone, marked with precise divisions. Think of it as their ancient ruler or measuring tape.
Like the blueprint's unit of measure.
Exactly. Set squares for right angles, sighting tools, maybe forked sticks for establishing straight lines and levels over distance. And for leveling large areas like the pyramid base, they might have used trenches filled with water to create a perfectly level surface.
Ingenious use of basic principles. And moving the blocks, we mentioned boats and sledges.
Right. On land, it was almost certainly sledges. We have depictions of workers pulling large statues on sledges. And crucially, evidence suggests lubrication. Pouring water on the sand in front of the sledge dramatically reduces friction.
Ah, making it much easier to pull.
Significantly easier. Allows a smaller team to move immense weight. For getting the blocks up the pyramid, that's the big debate. The ramps.
What are the main theories?
Well, a single massive straight ramp going up one side seems impractical. It would need to be incredibly long and contain almost as much material as the pyramid itself, especially for the upper levels.
Okay, so maybe not that.
Zigzagging ramps wrapping around the outside, possible, but making tight turns with huge blocks would be difficult, and it might obstruct surveying lines needed for accuracy.
So the other main idea.
Is the internal ramp, a ramp spiraling inside the body of the pyramid as it was built. Blocks would be hauled up within the core. This theory has gained traction, especially with Lorne.
The discovery of that big void using muon tomography.
Exactly. That void could potentially be part of such an internal ramp system. It solves problems of external space and materials and allows work to continue in bad weather.
Each theory has pros and cons, but they all point to a highly organized method.
Definitely. And they weren't afraid to adapt on the fly either.
Right, you mentioned the bent pyramid before.
Yes, Snefru's pyramid at Dashur. It starts steep, around 54 degrees, then abruptly changes to a shallower 43 degrees. Why? Likely because the initial steep angle was causing structural problems, maybe cracking, instability. They realized it mid-construction and changed the blueprint.
That shows incredible adaptive engineering, real-time problem solving on a colossal scale.
It really does. It showcases a pragmatic approach, a willingness to learn and modify the plan based on physical realities. They weren't just blindly following a design, they were actively engineering.
So if you connect all this, the meticulous records like Mara's diary, the archaeological evidence of villages, the ingenious tools, the adaptive planning,
It reveals a level of project management, logistical coordination, and design execution that honestly rivals modern large-scale construction projects. All achieved with simple tools, clever physics, and amazing human organization.
they weren't just stacking stones, they were orchestrating this incredible symphony of effort, skill, and knowledge, all guided by a sophisticated, evolving blueprint.
It's a profound testament to their understanding of materials, mechanics, logistics, and society itself, all unified under this immense vision.
Imagine coordinating that without computers, without modern communication. It truly makes you appreciate the human genius involved.
Absolutely. The sheer power of collective, organized human effort guided by intelligence.
Okay, so we've covered the engineering, the math, the stars, the logistics, but what about the deeper why? Why go to all this unbelievable effort?
Right, it clearly wasn't just about building something impressive or keeping people busy. It had to be driven by something incredibly profound.
A belief system, right. An entire worldview encoded in stone, designed to last forever.
Exactly. The pyramids are far more than just tombs or feats of engineering. They seem to embody the ancient Egyptian concept of Ma'at.
Ma'at, that's cosmic order, balance, truth, justice.
Yes, the fundamental principle underpinning the entire universe, according to the Egyptians. Everything from the stars moving predictably to the king ruling justly was part of Ma'at. And building the pyramids, with their perfect geometry and alignment, might have been seen as an act of reinforcing Ma'at.
Bringing human creation into harmony with the divine order.
Precisely. Anchoring cosmic stability on Earth through perfectly ordered architecture. Every alignment, every proportion could be seen as strengthening Ma'at against the forces of chaos.
So the pyramids are like physical manifestations of their deepest philosophical convictions, a tangible prayer in stone.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It reflects their profound belief that architecture could literally bridge the human and divine realms. Their structures weren't just functional, they were intensely symbolic gateways.
A connection between earthly life and the eternal cosmos.
Yes, and that belief infused every aspect of the design.
Which brings us back to the pharaoh's role. These weren't just graves in the modern sense, were they?
Far from it. For the Egyptians, the pyramid was much more than a final resting place. It was often described as a resurrection machine.
A resurrection machine. Wow, explain that.
It was an elaborate engine designed to ensure the pharaoh's successful transition to the afterlife, their transformation into a divine being, an Osiris, joining the eternal cycle of death and rebirth, often associated with the stars or the sun god, Ra.
So the pyramid facilitated the journey.
That seems to be the core idea. The encoded blueprint wasn't just for the builders. It might represent the spiritual instructions, the pathway for the pharaoh's soul. The structure itself was the vehicle for eternity.
And the precise alignments, the geometry we talked about, that ties in.
Absolutely. It reinforces the idea of cosmic harmony. The pharaoh's tomb wasn't just containing a body. It was designed to maintain and ensure eternal order, manat, for the benefit of the deceased king, and through him, all of Egypt.
So the pharaoh's spiritual journey, their connection to the cosmos, was literally built into the fabric of the structure, block by block.
As if the entire pyramid was this incredibly complex, sophisticated device for their rebirth and ascension, a truly powerful concept.
And the pyramid shape itself, did that have specific meaning?
Immense symbolic weight. It's widely thought to represent the primordial mound, the Ben.
The first land that emerged from the waters of chaos at creation.
Exactly. The point where life and order began. Building a pyramid was like recreating the moment of creation itself. It also strongly symbolized the rays of the sun god Ra descending to earth,
A ladder of light.
a pathway to the heavens. Imagine the original pyramids, encased in polished white limestone gleaming in the sun. They would have looked like solidified sunbeams, a literal stairway for the pharaoh to ascend and join Ra.
What really stands out then is how utterly inseparable the physical design was from their spiritual goals.
Completely. They're multidimensional expressions of a civilization's deepest convictions. Material and metaphysical woven together in every stone, every angle, every alignment.
It wasn't just building a monument, it was building a connection to the universe, an engine for eternity for their divine leader, reflecting a worldview where buildings were living parts of the cosmic order.
And that connection, that potential hidden knowledge, is now being probed in ways the Egyptians could never have imagined.
Right, this brings us to the cutting edge. New technology is letting us peer inside these ancient structures non-invasively.
It's like we're finally developing the keys to potentially decipher parts of that hidden blueprint that have been locked away for millennia.
How is this happening? What technologies are we talking about?
It's a truly revolutionary period for Egyptology. Technologies are moving us beyond just surface surveys or risky excavation. Take muon tomography.
Muons, those are cosmic ray particles.
Exactly. Tiny subatomic particles constantly showering the Earth from space. They pass through matter, but their paths are slightly deflected or absorbed, depending on the density of the material they encounter.
So they act like natural X-rays.
In a way, yes. By placing highly sensitive detectors around, or even inside or underneath a pyramid, we can track the paths of billions of muons passing through it. Areas that are less dense, like a hidden chamber or a void, will let more muons pass through unimpeded compared to solid rock.
So you can build up a 3D map of density variations inside.
Precisely. It allows us to see inside the pyramid structure, detecting voids or chambers without drilling a single hole or disturbing any ancient material. It's incredible.
And this technology led to that huge discovery a few years back.
It absolutely did. In 2017, the Scan Pyramids Project, a big international collaboration, announced they'd use muon tomography to discover a massive void inside the Great Pyramid.
The big void. Where is it? How big?
It's located directly above the Grand Gallery, that long ascending corridor leading towards the King's Chamber. And it's huge, at least 30 meters, or nearly 100 feet long, and shaped somewhat like a corridor itself. An area previously thought to be completely solid stone.
And its purpose. What could it be?
That's the big question. Intense debate. Could it be a hidden chamber, perhaps containing, well, who knows? Could it be related to relieving stress on the Grand Gallery below? Or, very intriguingly, could it be part of an unknown internal ramp system used during construction?
Ah, linking back to how they built the upper levels.
Exactly. It's a tantalizing glimpse into previously unknown spaces, challenging centuries of assumptions about the pyramid's internal design.
So muons give us density maps. What about other tech for mapping?
LiDAR scanning is another powerful tool. LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging.
Lasers, right.
Yes. Aircraft or drones or even ground-based scanners send out millions of laser pulses. By measuring the time it takes for the pulses to bounce back, you can create incredibly precise, detailed 3D models of surfaces.
So you can map the pyramids and the whole landscape with extreme accuracy.
Down to centimeters or even millimeters. This can reveal subtle alignments, surface features, slight variations in slope or construction details that are invisible to the naked eye. It helps analyze those broader landscape blueprints and site integration we talked about.
And for looking below ground.
We have ground-penetrating radar, GPR. It sends radar pulses into the ground and analyzes the reflections. Different materials and structures reflect the waves differently.
So you can find buried walls, tunnels, foundations.
Potentially, yes. It can help locate hidden tunnels, anomalies under the sand, maybe chambers within the pyramid foundations or beneath the Sphinx without having to dig blindly, adding pieces to the puzzle, or refuting speculative theories.
And even drones and AI are playing a role.
Absolutely. High-resolution drone photography and satellite imagery, combined with AI analysis, are helping model ancient landscapes, reconstruct past environments.
Like mapping that lost Aramat branch of the Nile.
Precisely. It helps confirm the logistical possibilities and shows how integrated the construction was with the environment. All these technologies are part of initiatives like the Scan Pyramids project, fostering international collaboration to non-invasively explore these wonders.
Okay, let's circle back to that internal ramp theory. You mentioned the big void could be part of it.
It's a very strong possibility, and one of the leading hypotheses for the void's function. The idea of a ramp spiraling up inside the pyramid's core has been around for a while. Architect Jean-Pierre Houdin has championed a detailed version of this.
And the void fits this theory.
It could. The void's location and shape are consistent with potentially being part of such a ramp, or perhaps a space related to its construction or use maybe for maneuvering blocks or using counterweights. Density scans seem to support anomalies consistent with a ramp in some areas. If confirmed, it would revolutionize our understanding of how they reached those incredible heights.
So, connecting the dots, these technologies aren't just finding cool anomalies, they're providing real data.
Tangible, concrete data that moves us beyond pure speculation. It could finally help validate or refute some of these long-held blueprint theories about hidden chambers, construction methods, or encoded knowledge.
It feels like we're truly on the cusp of deciphering codes left dormant for millennia, opening entirely new chapters in Egyptology driven by 21st century science.
It's an incredibly exciting time. The pyramids aren't just static monuments anymore. They're active sites of ongoing discovery, constantly revealing new layers of their creators' ingenuity.
These aren't dusty old discoveries from a forgotten tomb. This is happening right now. It makes you, listening, part of this unfolding mystery. We're finally starting to read the messages they left for us.
Maybe finally understanding the full depth of their vision.
So, where does all this leave Egyptology as a field? And more importantly, maybe, how should you, the listener, approach these ancient mysteries now?
Well, this concept of hidden blueprints definitely stirs the pot. It creates vibrant, sometimes quite heated debates within the field.
Between the conventional view and more alternative ideas.
Exactly. The conventional view, held by most mainstream academic Egyptologists, tends to prioritize practical explanations grounded in direct archaeological evidence. Simple external ramps, perhaps, combined with immense, well-organized manpower and careful but essentially straightforward astronomical observations for alignment.
And their primary interpretation of the pyramids.
Primarily as monumental tombs. Incredible feats of engineering, yes, but not necessarily encoded with esoteric, lost knowledge or functioning as power plants or anything mystical. They emphasize the lack of unambiguous evidence for such claims.
But then you have the alternative voices, often outside traditional academia.
Right. Fringe researchers, independent scholars, authors, they often propose more radical ideas. Lost technologies, forgotten physics, secret wisdom, maybe even extraterrestrial influence in some extreme cases.
Why do they push these ideas?
They often focus on anomalies, the extreme precision, the mathematical constants like pi and phi, the sheer scale arguing that conventional explanations are insufficient. They proposed pyramids as energy devices, advanced observatories, or repositories of global knowledge, functions far beyond a simple tomb.
And mainstream scholars remain skeptical.
Generally, yes. Again, primarily due to the lack of direct, verifiable proof that meets rigorous scientific standards. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and for many of these theories, that evidence just hasn't materialized in a convincing way for the academic community.
So there's this tension, academic rigor versus more speculative, open exploration. Is that a bad thing?
Not necessarily. It can be a healthy tension in science. Established fields naturally and rightly resist overturning paradigms without compelling proof. But new discoveries do happen.
Like the muon void or the Aramat branch.
Exactly. Discoveries like those fuel speculation, they challenge assumptions, they force a reevaluation of long-held ideas. They remind us that our understanding is always provisional, always evolving. The conversation has to adapt.
It raises a really important question, doesn't it? How do we balance that scientific rigor with being open-minded?
It's a delicate balance. Skepticism is crucial, but so is intellectual curiosity. You don't want to dismiss possibilities out of hand, but you also can't accept claims without solid evidence.
So how should researchers approach it?
Many are calling for more collaboration, more transparency in sharing data, and maybe more willingness to scientifically test alternative hypotheses, even unconventional ones, if they can be framed in a testable way. Let the evidence lead wherever it goes.
So for you listening, the takeaway is perhaps to rethink assumptions.
Definitely. Are pyramids just static monuments, tombs from a bygone era, built with simple tools and brute force?
Or are they living puzzles, still holding secrets, waiting to reveal potentially vast, undiscovered knowledge about ancient capabilities, ancient worldviews?
The story isn't finished. It's unfolding right now. You are witnessing history being potentially rewritten and redefined by these new tools and perspectives.
It's a reminder of humanity's enduring quest to understand our past and the power of continuous inquiry.
Absolutely. The questions remain as compelling as ever.
Wow, what an incredible deep dive that was into the hidden blueprints, real or theoretical, of ancient Egypt's pyramids.
We covered a lot of ground: cosmic alignments, sacred geometry, the amazing logistics involving the Nile.
Right, the Diary of Mirror, the Aramat branch discovery, and then peering into the future with technologies like muon tomography.
It really drives home the idea that these secret blueprints aren't necessarily physical scrolls, but profound patterns. Patterns encoded in stone, in the sky, in the landscape, and reflecting their whole philosophy.
The pyramids truly embody so much more than just engineering, don't they?
They really do. They reflect a worldview where architecture, astronomy, mathematics, spirituality, it all merged seamlessly. It was one cohesive, grand design for eternity.
And with modern technology and hopefully an open spirit of inquiry.
The coming decades might finally give us clearer answers. Are these hidden designs fascinating speculation? Or are they the sophisticated, long-lost master plan of ancient Egypt? It's a genuinely thrilling prospect.
It really is. And as we stand here on the edge of these potential new discoveries, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Mm.
What other ancient structures around the world think about Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Teotihuacan, Göbekli Tepe might hold similar hidden blueprints? Encoded world views of their creators, just waiting for us to finally learn the language to learn how to read them.
That's a fascinating thought. Are these principles universal or unique to each culture?
And turning it around, what profound messages, what data, what worldview might we be unknowingly encoding into our own monumental works today? Our skyscrapers, our digital networks, our probes sent into space. What will future generations decipher about us?
The conversation about why we build and how we build and what we leave behind, it clearly spans millennia, and it's far from over.